There's some things in the world that give me the heebie-jeebies. You know, like, ooh, there's just the when you give, there's too much concentration of power in the hands of so few people. Then we enter into a period of draconian um, authoritarianism, either by an oligarchy, a monarchy, a dictatorship, a technocracy, or a theocracy. And as a self-proclaimed expert on these issues and these subjects, having concerning and having to do with of course propaganda, philosophy, history, politics, art, right? This is my wheelhouse. And then of course I developed through a lot of effort my technical expertise. It was not easy. I had to fight my brain the entire time to learn all of this stuff because my natural tendency is just to not want to be a part of any of this. Legitimately, like personal details, okay, which will make me look like I'm crazy. But because of the stuff that the way other people treated me, and because of my learning disabilities, of course I don't have any real verification for this except firsthand accounts by other people. And that's of course how you establish a record or a provenance, or that's how it used to be done. How to verify and vet people before the age of the internet, and those old ways, right? Uh, the old school ways of collecting intelligence and knowledge about a person, if not a group of people. But the information again is a double-edged sword. It can be used either for good or it can be used for bad, maliciousness or omnipotence, right? And there's just some people out there that get really, really desperate, seriously desperate, and so they start hiding things that are seriously unethical, and that like lead to human experimentations and exploitation of animals, and the whole gamut, right? And everyone is prone to making mistakes. Incompetence is, if we're going to reference aviation here, human error is the number one cause of all accidents and incidents. The number one reason why things fail. Now I'm looking at this TrueStream Media. I added it to the history of propaganda. Why don't they want people to see this movie? Because it's scary, right? And it freaks out the normies, right? It freaks out the normies, and that's a problem because you don't want too much disruption. You don't want people having heart attacks from hypertension and the stress and the paranoia that happens when you know this information. Oh no! All of a sudden, I'm doing something that's against God. Oh my God! I'm oh my God! I'm Satan's top guy. Oh my God! I got to rule over hell. Oh my God! Oh no! And then like they're talking about the suggestion, ECT, and then stimulation uh, by contact, right? And they mentioned the burnt toast thing, that was a woman that had epilepsy or whatever, and she had brain surgery here up in Canada, and that resolved her epilepsy, thankfully. And that was, of course, that was the first of its kind, right? Pioneers being pioneers. And there's some stuff going on right now in this moment in 2024, leading up to this moment, that is fucking scary. Okay, and just like we're talking like weapons of mass destruction, and I'm talking about like beyond nuclear warfare. I'm talking about like mind control via distributed network of resonance. So again, that has to do with 5G, right, or 4G, certain gigahertz, that has sympathetic resonance with the skull. And this is where the tinfoil hatters came into and came into prominence within the culture, right, and subcultures. The conspiracy theorist. Again, conspiracy theorist was a terminology invented, if I remember correctly, by the CIA to describe these people, the truthers, right? The previous, and then these efforts to discredit them, in order to maintain a cover of darkness, for the idea and for the concepts, of, we can't let this out, we can't let this out, you know. But the thing is that you kind of have to do, you know, like, don't put that on me, don't put that mean on the agent, but you did, but you did, you see. And again, people who have done too many drugs and seek absolute power, um, are not trustworthy. We will do whatever we need to do in order to survive. And to some people, that means suppression. And I know, I can feel for a fact. Um, and I gotta thank, the military nurse that did my COVID swab. Thank you very much for um, not doing the old Egyptian on me, and with a bit of paranoia. Um, Going forward from that, like, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the background, say like nanite technology or quantum computing, and the Higgs boson, and that experiments with the Large Hadron Collider, in which there's so much energy involved that we don't know the consequences of what we're doing, right? And that's a reference, obviously, to Half Life, unforeseen consequences, interdimensionality, things beyond the black rainbow, right? The usages in order to program people into being good little human beings, good workers. Yes, yes, they are. Yes, excellent. Thank you so much. Continue on. Continue on. Putting the blinders on. Smart enough to do the job, not smart enough to question why. Ours is to do or die. Right? There's different means of programming, and the current ones in Canada have to do with the readily accessible drugs, which happen to be, the pharmaceuticals, the mood stabilizing chemicals, mood stabilizing compounds, and then even RNA, experimental treatments. Okay, let's put it like that. And there's a reason why scientists call it an experimental treatment. It's because we don't know the consequences on a broader scale. And when it's let loose, it could nuke the entire atmosphere. It's not a joke, right? There is a capacity as to which, like, critical mass, not only with nuclear physics, but also with electronics. And again, I'm going to shout out to Roden Schwartz here. Thank you so much. I look forward to learning more about avionics, and of course everything else involved with it. But my strengths are obviously where they are, and so I would probably delegate this to someone else that's trustworthy. But to know about it, to even just to know about it, is an advantage over the enemy, because the enemy doesn't think about this stuff, right? They don't think about the technical details. Your opponent, and they're scrambling like rats, to run away from the light, because of accountability and traceability. Because this stuff like suppression fields, it's not just one person that can feel it, right? If I'm going to get into more details, if you look at the human brain, because that's what this one is about, in stimulation in certain regards, there is a hollow resonance chamber inside the center of the brain that's close to the pineal gland, right? That looks like a pine cone. Now, pine cone, evergreens, right? Because they last forever. And he's talking about, I can stimulate memories and stuff like that. That's true. You absolutely can stimulate memories and images within the head, right? The visualization, right? This, which relates to other weird stuff like the paranormal, such as telepathy, telekinesis, and that kind of stuff, right? It gets freaking weird. I'm telling you, okay. And so, like, this is why electronic warfare has such a great importance, more importance than a direct energy weapon, or or even a kinetic weapon. Okay, because those things come after. This is the first and last line of defense. This right here, electronic warfare, especially since so much is communicated through radio signals and through different wavelengths of light, right? So you look at a computer screen, and the usual refresh rate is 60 hertz, right? So the hertz, of course, is the distance peak to peak in the wavelength, and so if you're not isolated and you're not protected within something like a Faraday cage, then you're going to be receiving all of this radiation all the time. And that's what drives some people crazy, because there are people out there. This is documented quite thoroughly, that can't be anywhere near a cellular phone and can't be anywhere near a portable phone, and they gotta live in the area around an X-ray observatory, right, or a radio spectrography telescope, and you know that it's the only place that they can have peace, unless it's somewhere that's away from the potentiality of the broadcast diameter from the towers. Okay, and it's becoming harder and harder to keep our opponents out of these networks that influence us. And I'm going to cite, extraordinary warfare, because, again, the psychology in sports is exactly the same as it is in conflicts, right? Because sports is ritualized. Sports, especially if I'm going to talk about, say, like football or hockey, it's ritualized and sanitized warfare, right? Same with any kind of contact sport that, say, in preeminence right now, so slap fighting or MMA or boxing or even weightlifting. Weightlifting is a contact sport in that you are physically showing your dominance, right? So you have to have some sort of communication, which would be called contact. And that's the spreading of ideas. That's the TED Talk, right? We all do TED Talks now. Still give it a bit of relevance. There's these grandiose ideas. Wow, just blew my mind, man. And again, the drugs and suggestion and stuff like that. So sedatives and again, programming through flashes of light, if not through certain wavelengths in the music. And this is why I was saying that more than a few weeks ago, I couldn't figure out exactly what people's dialogues were on YouTube itself. They were cut. It's like because of the compression, and compression of a wavelength means that you're cutting the top and the bottom off of it in order to clarify the signal and get rid of the noise. But in a lot of cases, that can be used, the tops and the bottoms, to insert a new message into the wavelength that is the culture. And this is why it's important not to have a concentration of any particular cultural group within the news and within society and within the media and within art, because it is that important, right? North America is a war zone right now. It's a war zone, right? Because of what's happening in Israel and what's happening in the Ukraine. And, Russia's getting desperate. They got some new weapons. They really do. And the potential and the possibility and probability of an open conflict that's even larger than what it is right now is very high, in my opinion. It's very high right now. It's very high. And there's a lot of other people that are fatalists, and because of their belief systems, they're like, well, I guess we're bringing about the Antichrist. We're going to place all of our problems upon this person, lay hands on them, we'll give them a life, we'll turn them into a figure, and then we can hate them. And so we direct all the hate at this person in order to channel and control people. And it's not just through politics, the political theory and theater that this happens. It happens in academia and so on and so forth. And because People want to be entertained, so let's just give them entertainment. It's trying to exacerbate the fall of the Roman Empire with the invasion of the Mongols and the Germanic tribes. But these people, okay, we're going on 50 minutes here, extrapolated from this video because it's the means of control, and it's very scary.
I love your building.
Because it's just like MK Ultra was supposed to be used for therapy, but put into the wrong hands, and especially people that remove their feelings, or they go full feelings and no objectivity. So they go full subjective and towards a psycho-civilized society. It's just the blanket treatment or whatever else. It makes me angry.
So writing on the walls, murder. That's all, just writing on the walls, murder.
This one tried to stop it all.
I was not going to stop. I was just not going to stop about this.
For the first time, man now has the tools to explore the living brain.
It is doubtful that any meaningful form of consent is involved in this case.
Was it tamper of lines? Is it tamper of lines? And if so, does anyone have the right to do that?
Can the human mind be controlled?
That's a question we shouldn't be asking. Again, this is why we have ethics. This is why we have a pathos. And this is why we have a logos. And this stuff is pure evil. And it's grounds for a new Nuremberg trial.